Let's uh let's get the week
Take two.
started. Take two. Hello everyone and welcome to Wowhead Weekly number 146. These numbers are really starting to rack up. So today we've got some battle for Azeroth things to talk about. Before we get into any of that though, I'll introduce Perculia, Wowhead site manager and my co-host. Let's jump to her.
Hey everyone. Hey, so the Battle for Azeroth hype train is fully here. We're getting blue post by Blizzard about it, and we have some updates on Recruit a Friend and some interesting data mining on Collector's Edition, and lots of stuff going on with live servers like the Una secret was solved. But before we jump into the show, just to notice that our giveaway this week is Pirate Pepe, a little cute
Yay!
plush. And the keyword to enter is booty, Booty, and it is not uppercase or lowercase, just anything works. Just type that into chat, and we will pick the winner at the end of this show. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And also, as may have happened last time, I did not introduce myself. Why is that so hard? I'm Annie, also known as
You're
Amy
so
Fuchsia.
humble.
I think you know what, I'm doing this on purpose. I want to introduce Perk first because she's so special to me. I think that's what it's all about. But yeah, I'm Annie Fuchsia. I'm found on Twitch most of the time, but sometimes on other sites as well. Big World of Warcraft big World of Warcraft fan and Blizzard fan and everything to do with WoW stuff. Where is Panzer? Panzer is no longer the host of Wowhead Weekly. She does, however, still do a bunch of things with Wowhead, so it's not like she's completely out or anything like that. It's just that Wowhead Weekly itself was not something that she could continue with. So therefore, you got me instead. So
Aw.
that's what's going on.
You are all special, and maybe she'll be back on the show at some point as a guest.
Yeah, definitely can expect Panzer to come on as a show guest at some point in the near future.
Yeah.
As soon as we, got things rolling properly. I'm still new to the whole hosting thing, so, we're getting there. We're getting there. Soon we can be professional enough and invite Panzer here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so as we mentioned, there were quite a few things that were talked about in this week. As Perk mentioned, things are becoming actual news of blue posts, which is really interesting. When things happen in blue posts, then that things are actually happening. Things
Yeah.
are getting serious. The expansion is just around the corner, and let's jump into some of the information here that we got. Oh, I just
Right.
noticed a subscriber as well. Hans Zach, thank you very much for the sub. And I think
you.
we had another one too that I missed. I'm really sorry, but I'll try and notice those so I can thank you guys properly.
Yeah, so we have a blog that is all about Battle for Azeroth class design, and some of the key topics were class uniqueness and utility, minor tweaks to the talent system, and what they're doing about the artifact weapons and how they're rebalancing classes with them gone in Battle for Azeroth. Now, a lot of this was covered if you were following along at BlizzCon 2017, including an interview Annie herself did.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always worth recapping.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we'll just discuss it, and maybe we'll give some examples about what we noticed at the BlizzCon 2017 demo that gives you like more clear examples as to what's going on here.
Mm-hmm. So just a
So,
quick reminder about that
yeah.
interview. It was a part of a BlizzCon stream that I had, and it was featuring Jay Gill. He was nice enough to want to join us for the stream and answered a bunch of questions from people in the chat. And so, like, this discussion has already been, open in the past, but as the expansion gets nearer, it's good to be reminded, and, some things may be more clarified than back then as well. So that's what this post would be all about. So, a lot of things changed with the years of abilities disappearing, making more classes similar to each other, bring the player, not the class. There were a lot of discussions of things similar to that kind of thread. What we're seeing now with the new expansion is that they want to bring the class uniqueness back. And
Right.
a lot of ways of doing this is to bring back interesting abilities that are more around utility, so not so much about, you know, damaging or healing or mitigation, maybe some changes with that as well, of course, but with a lot of focus on utility. And
Yeah, I feel like this is something that really came to the forefront after people saw how interesting utility choices were in the Mythic Dungeon Invitational.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
and yeah, Blizzard doesn't, they only, blah, they don't just want more utility, they want different classes to have a greater variety in utility.
Yeah,
So, for example,
and
they
it's
want
cool.
to, yeah, good.
You know, sorry, no, you go, you go.
No, I was just saying that something we looked at the demo floor was changes to area of effect stuns and how that's really powerful utility and how, um, people have many groups that have AoE stuns in groups, and the idea is that maybe fewer classes or specs should have that AoE stuns and make it seem really special if you finally get someone in the group with that, and then another class has another type of equally awesome integral utility. So you have to make hard choices as to the composition you want, and maybe they'll make an encounter where one type of utility is really important. So, you bring that alt along, or you really want to have a specific spec in there. It's not just about who does the most DPS.
Yeah. What I was going to say was actually very similar to what you said there at the end, that it's they want to bring back the feeling of, like I don't know, I'm a warlock, so, you know, I have my summoning stone. Well, we already had that, but like, so similar things to that, where something that you had which was unique to your class but was removed for one reason or another will come back. And we see examples of this in many different kinds of abilities. Like I noticed we were going through the different list of the abilities that are coming back or being changed, and we noticed things like druids getting soothed back, where we noticed some old buffs also coming back, like Mark of the Wild for druids as well.
Yeah. Hunters of Trank Shot.
Yeah, Hunters of Trank Shot. I remember
Yeah.
that time on stream, I was like, just use Trank Shot. And they're like, we haven't had that for ages. And I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah, it's like such a part of the class fantasy.
Yeah, I don't play a hunter, so, you know, I missed out on like certain changes like that. But now we see more of these unique stuff coming back. I think that's really cool. I think it's fun to have like a special thing that, you know, a certain class can do. I think it makes things more interesting. So I'm actually really excited for this, and I remember when I was talking to Jay Gill about it at the interview as well, and it was really funny because we kept asking questions that he was possibly not able to answer either
Right.
because of NDA. So it became like,
Will this class be like worked on? I can't
yeah,
say it.
yeah, exactly. No, but this is really exciting. I'm really excited to see all the changes that will be made. They also in this post they also made a little bit of emphasis on. I guess strengthening the role of the type of DPS class that you could be, for example, not just DPS but in anything, basically making a better like difference or a more clear uniqueness in every type of spec. So you have a bursty DPS spec, you have a less bursty attrition DPS spec. They want to make those differences also more like that you actually
Right.
can feel it properly.
I think it's important that, and they said in the post that it's important that the game's content provides a broad array of challenges that play into these different tools. I think it's really important that Blizzard delivers on that, because you don't want a bunch of raid encounters that favor one type of DPS or one type of tank. So hopefully Blizzard will have enough variety. So this system of like, oh, well, I play this spec and it's only good at one type of thing. Hopefully you won't feel stressed out by it. And hopefully they have good catch-up mechanisms. So if you want to do something and take on different roles, it doesn't feel like an insurmountable, barrier or time sink where you can't, well, I want to be like I want to do burst DPS, but I also want to do attrition. I want to go to all the DPS encounters. Hopefully they'll make it so you can easily swap between characters. And not feel like, oh, I don't have a reward now, or I don't have a rep gain, or I have to like grind up my artifact points. Well, I know whatever the equivalent is.
Yeah, I was thinking like, what if they would make tanks like how like in the olden days where like certain tanks were meant for like single targets, certain tanks were better for like AoE kind of mobs. If they would bring that kind of uniqueness back as well. Would that work in raiding? Would that force you to have certain tanks, or would it be like you just change the tactics and it works for both of those kind of tanks? It's really interesting topics that they are opening with these changes of bringing back uniqueness.
Yeah. I'm also reminded of how they're talking about with islands, how maybe they would even have consumables where you could be like a healing mage or like a tanking arms warrior. So maybe that could work in a pinch if you don't want people saying, "Oh, I was benched because I'm not this role and now I can't do my Mythic Plus anymore." So it's interesting how with consumables people can take on other roles.
Wait, how were those consumables going to be used?
Let's see. This wasn't actually covered in a panel. It was covered in an interview with the Starting Zone and Chris Robinson and Jeremy Fiesel. And it said, Blizzard wants to play around with the concept of not requiring the holy trinity of roles, tank, healer, DPS. You will find a seafaring vendor on your dock every day who will sell consumables, allowing you to fill in holes for your spec. For example, one day your arms warrior could find a vendor, so you could be a tanky arms warrior, or if you're a mage, perhaps you'd find items allowing you to be a healing mage.
Yeah, I think I remember that. That was a while ago, right?
Yeah, that was BlizzCon.
Yeah. I forgot about that. That's actually really, really interesting. I want to hear more about that.
Yeah, that could be good if people feel like, oh, I've always been a fire mage. Now I'm penalized because I'm stuck in one type of DPS, but this really cool content I want to do values attrition, so maybe there'd be like an attrition consumable or something. Interesting thought.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting. I want to hear more about that. Thanks
I
for
would
the
like
reminder.
more specifics, just because, like, I know people are going to be anxious that people don't want to feel like they're not going to be taken to content because they are the wrong spec and they don't have enough time to level up alts to fill different roles. Like, you don't want someone saying, "Oh, I could never kill Mythic Argus because I was the wrong type of DPS." Like, you don't want people panicking about that.
And these consumables, would they be specifically only for the island content?
So far they were discussed as island content. I'm just speculating. It's interesting tech that
definitely.
Now that they're able to do this because they don't want people locked into tank DPS healer, maybe they could, I don't know, give you consumables to modify your role more for other types of content. What else we got? So another thing that was also important was artifacts. So obviously artifacts are not going to be used in battle for Azeroth as our main weapon. And as part of that, we're losing a ton of, artifact traits ranging from, this boosts your damage, or this ability procs more, or special abilities that give you like another button, like the special, the one you start off with, like Havoc gives you the AoE, or Retribution has Wake of Ashes. So these specializations will be analyzed leading up to battle for Azeroth to make sure that pacing doesn't feel terrible after you remove all these perks people are used to. And some of them that are really cool, they might turn them into permanent parts of the class. And this is something we noticed to a small extent at the BlizzCon demo as well. For example, the Retribution one was a talent, the Fire Mage one was a talent, the Elemental Shaman one was a talent, and I think one of the rogue legendaries became a talent. So, it's not every single artifact trait, but if there's something unique that seems very cool, they are, taking that into account and adding it.
For the mage, that was the Phoenix, what's it called? Phoenix Flames, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And,
I think it's cool that they're taking. I feel like in a way, what they can, which is probably really fun for them as well as they're like working on the game, is that with these artifacts they can experiment so many different kinds of little like things, and then if they like it and if it just fits very well, they keep it for the next expansion and just keep it as a core ability instead.
Yeah, I hope it goes well because I'm picturing what happens as we lead up to the next expansion, and you don't want the same situation of, oh, well, people are so used to the heart of Azerite, and now all that's going to go away in patch 9.0, and then they have to rebalance everyone again.
Yeah, that's true as well.
Yeah.
And what we might see, with these artifact traits, most of them at least, being gone, it does also leave, more space to experiment and have fun with the new stuff, which will be the Azerite armor. So it's, I guess that'll be the new way for Blizzard to, work around and have fun with like different new cool abilities or whatnot
I wonder
to see how it works out in the game.
We don't know a ton of stuff about the Azerite yet, but I wonder if that's going to be if it will be like primarily utility choices or if there will be DPS ones mixed in. If it was only utility driven, that would make sense with Blizzard's increased focus on utility and making people care about it more.
Good point. Yeah.
But yeah, we don't really know what's up with the Heart of Azerite, but that actually kind of transitions into our next topic of there's a lot of stuff we don't know about, and Blizzard has announced there is a developer Q&A on Tuesday the 30th, and people can submit questions about Battle for Azeroth.
And this was just announced today, right?
Yeah, like 4 hours ago.
And that also brings more questions, like will this Q&A be announcing anything that's going to happen in the near future? It's going to be, I mean, it's 30th of January. That's it's been a while since BlizzCon, since the expansion was announced. I feel like suddenly things will happen, and maybe a part of this Q&A will be that announcement. Who knows?
Yeah. At the end of the class blog, they said, thank you for feedback. We'll take it into account as, alpha testing starts in the near future. So maybe we'll have a notice about that or pre-order, but definitely Ian Hazacostas was answering questions about Battle for Azeroth, so get them in about what's going on with the Heart of Azeroth or utility, or if you're concerned that the class systems means that you will be now benched because you play a certain type of DPS or tank. And Wowhead will be live blogging that as usual, and it takes place at noon Pacific on twitch.tv/Wowhead. Not Wowhead, Pacific. Warcraft. Noon Pacific.
Oh yeah, yeah, not on Wowhead, on Warcraft. So that would be around 9 p.m. Central European, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely tuning into that to see what's going on. Another thing that was recently discovered were the Battle for Azeroth Collector's Edition. So we don't know exactly how these rewards look like, but we now have a little bit of information on it. I've got a picture here that shows a battle pet, the Horde mount, and the Alliance mount. This is all that we have so far. We do not have an actual picture of the mounts or the pet or anything, but you can get an idea by looking at them, and the names are also official. The Alliance mount is called the Sea Braid Stallion, the Horde mount is a Gilded Ravasaur, and the battle pet is called Tottle. So we can see from the picture itself as well, like the Alliance one looks kind of like, some kind of steed or horse, and the Horde one looks like some kind of, a Ravasaur or raptor.
Yeah, I like his gold little headdress thing. And some of the BlizzCon pictures, I think they had a Brontosaurus with a cool gold armor thing, so hopefully it looks like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope the pictures were big enough. They were very tiny. I didn't want to stretch them out too much to make them blurry, but hopefully you could see that. And these rewards will also come with related feats of strength, just like with other collector's editions.
Yeah, and it's important to note that Tottle you can use on both factions, but the Sea Braid Stallion you can only use on an Alliance character, and the Gilded Ravasaur on Horde characters. And this was not put in a Blizzard post. Blizzard has kept these images encrypted, and that's still encrypted, but we've been able to, get the achievement names and get the icons through data mining in 735. So who knows? Maybe they will announce that at the Q&A now that the secret's kind of out there.
Yeah, maybe we'll get official pictures at least to see how they're going to look like.
Yep.
But yeah, we still don't know when the pre-orders are going to be. And
there's always like more stuff. Like I know with Warlords and Legion, there is a character boost with it. Every other game does something. We know that Hearthstone has a Battle for Azeroth card, but we don't know what Diablo has, for example.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Also my cat is like trying to cut my foot with his collar, so if I'm distracted, that's why.
Like, remove this, I don't want it.
Yeah, so.
It's okay, Brapa. You're gonna get better.
Yep.
On to the next point here. I don't know if you want to remind people or I could remind people. In the past, I believe Perk showed you guys an encrypted dog mount, and there was not much that you guys or that anyone knew about it. And now it seems like there's a little bit more information on this, including an icon. Again, a tiny picture. I'll show it here.
It's so cute, though.
It looks really cute.
Yeah.
It looks really cute. And the official, or the, I guess, yeah, the official name for it is Shuzen the Divine Sentinel.
So a lot of people are speculating that based on the name, oh god, no, Brightpaw, no, no, no. He jumped, he shouldn't have. He'll be fine, though. Sorry. Based on the name and year of the dog starting on February 16th, we think that the mount could be related to the celebration of the Lunar Festival. So we think that this could be the Year of the Dog celebration in game. Heroes of the Storm has done Lunar Festival skins before. You know, WoW has the Lunar Festival. No, baby. I think I might have to AFK a sec. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, no worries. No worries.
He shouldn't be.
Yeah, I see him as well, and I'm also like, no worries, no worries. Okay. So guys, just a little moment for Brightpaw to get better. A little moment for Brightpaw. I guess I could continue speaking.
Sorry.
No, she's
sorry
fine.
about. I'm really sorry.
No, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
So
are you okay continuing?
Yeah, I'm fine. He just he shouldn't be that active, so I moved him to the boring room.
Okay.
So
okay.
He's fine now. I just panic when he does the wrong thing. I'm sorry about the interruption.
No worries, no worries.
But
yeah, we were talking about the shoes and the Divine Sentinel, and you want to talk about how the name of it is implying stuff.
Yeah, so the Year of the Dog starts on February 16th, Chinese New Year, and based on, you know, the name of Shuzen and how it sounds like, you know, Chinese mythology, and how there is the in-game Lunar Festival starting in mid-February, we think that this is all related. Also, a lot of data related to the mount strongly implies that this is either a shop or promotional mount. Like, it doesn't have any, like, sell price or source listed. Mm-hmm. So it makes sense to be part of a Lunar Festival promotion, although it could also be a shop mount. But I'm going with Lunar Festival promotion, and maybe you have to, like, I don't know, do something in Overwatch and you get the mount, or do something in Heroes or you get the mount, or maybe it's even like a cool reward revealed in WoW. Not sure. But either way, people love this on Twitter. They're like, oh, it's Shuzen, the divine good doggy. And
yeah.
He looks cute from the icon. You can see he kind of has like some traditional golden paint by his ear and some sort of gem by his nose. And I'm sure he looks
again. There it is. I'll try and make it a little bit bigger without blurring it out too much. There we go. But yeah, I really like listening to how you like speculate on things. That's why I wanted you specifically to mention this, because it's like so many different things that you have to like, you know, think about, like a Year of the Dog and Lunar Festival being so soon. Perk is always so good at this stuff.
Oh, thank you.
But yeah, so thank you for being able to tell us that, even though Brightpaw was having a little bit of a moment.
Yep, I can hear him in the other room banging his head against the walls.
Poor.
No matter
poor
what
kitty.
I do, it's something is not going to go right. So
poor kitty. He'll be okay. He'll be okay. I believe in him. No storm out. Yeah, hopefully it's not a storm out. I think it would be a lot nicer, or a lot more. It would be a lot nicer if, you know, the mount is a part of a kind of in-game event. I think that's always a lot more fun.
Yeah. Like, and it could look really cool if you have to do something for like a month in the game. You know, if you didn't have much time to do it, then it makes sense that it has extra bells and whistles. You know, to show that it's some effort.
Yeah, yeah.
So. Yeah.
Okay. Well. On to a topic that's started a lot of discussions on forums, on my own stream, everywhere. The recruit a friend changes. So one of the main things to notice with Recruit a Friend was the huge nerf to the percentage, XP percentage boost. It went from 200% to 50%. They also changed it so that Wrath does no longer stack with Heirlooms, which, you know, punishes the old player more than the friend. Yeah, just these changes in general, especially with the Heirlooms part not being able to stack, I think it makes it really clear that Recruit a Friend was meant to be for, you know, recruiting a friend. And Blizzard is, you know, kind of like, you know, putting their foot down and like, okay, guys, we know you're using this to, you know, level ults. I mean, I admit I've done it myself. But we want this feature to be specifically for recruiting friends. And if you recruit a friend, you don't want to level faster than your friend. So what's the point of your Heirlooms giving you experience? So there's a lot of, like, at first when I heard this, I was like, oh no, it's going to be so hard to level ults. But if you think about it, I think it makes complete sense. And even the way that Blizzard put it in the blue post here, I'll show you the quote.
Yeah.
Here. The way they put it, I thought sounded really funny. Like, buy a new copy of the game, put it on a separate account, send it a refer a friend invite, level a new character, and then transfer that character to your primary account. And yeah, and they commented that's messy at best. It is really messy. And I think hopefully with Recruit a Friend gone, what I'm hoping is that Blizzard will look into that, the fact that old players do want a faster way to level. Maybe they'll bring something in order to address that. At the moment, it seems like it's the opposite, because the XP required for all different levels in the lower levels have actually been increased by, I think it was between 40 and 60%. A lot of people are saying that it feels like the new expansion or the new changes in general are turning it all into a leveling expansion. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm interested in Blizzard saying that if leveling is too slow, we'd rather address that in game than having Recruit a Friend be the bizarre workaround.
Yeah.
So obviously the player response was, oh my god, it's too slow, like, I can't use my workaround now. So I would be curious to see what steps Blizzard is taking to evaluate if leveling still feels too slow, and what are some things they can add, because while I think that 735 is great if you like the lore and, you know, actually seeing the story as the reward, there are many people that still kind of view leveling as a chore to get to the real content at the game. So maybe more incentives need to be added, like, you know, if you finish a continent, maybe you get like a special transmog set or toy related to like Outland or Northrend, just like more things people can look forward to at different levels for spending all this time doing questing. We were discussing this before the show, but we were talking about how if you have a first character, the achievement points are great, but if you have a bunch of alts and you're really trying to get to 110 to do all the unique class hall content or get things like, you know, the Warrior Arena toy, leveling kind of feels like this really long slog where you're not really gaining anything new as you're leveling up on your alt.
Yeah.
Because you already have all the achievement points.
That was like my situation, for example. I have all classes at max level except Warrior, and I've been kind of like slowly leveling it. I'm at level 46, I believe, if I remember correctly. And now suddenly it'll take me longer to level it. And the reason I wanted to level it was to get the unique things at max level. And then the question is, okay, so if now it's going to take me longer to level because the leveling experience for new players, well, I guess old players as well, has been changed for you to, you know, enjoy the leveling experience itself. But what if I'm not interested? Then maybe one solution that we thought of, a possible solution, would maybe be that the increased experience would be kind of, I guess, taken out by adding more experience onto the Heirlooms. So that would be one way of doing it, because Heirlooms are always a choice. So if you want to have a longer and like better leveling experience, you can always decide not to wear them, especially now that they've been nerfed, so they're not even that strong. I had a lot of people mention to me how when they were leveling, they would try and use like just regular blues and greens from outside the world, because those items were a lot stronger.
I think up to 80, the stats on Heirlooms have been nerfed in 735, and then it's mostly the same as you get to a higher level. But yeah, I think that more incentives should be added for alts as they are leveling. And and I think maybe even more rewards for doing Lore Master because there are not anything mandatory like flying, but I think cosmetic rewards might be nice to do
Yeah.
for the completionists.
Yeah. Another idea that was mentioned was like having like the more max level characters you have, the more some kind of like percentage of experience is added to your ults, just for the people who have leveled a lot, for their leveling experience to be faster. And maybe in one way or another that they could also turn that off, because if you're leveling with someone who doesn't have the same experience boost as you do, that's not very fun. Well,
Exactly.
actually, maybe it doesn't matter that much anymore, right? Because things do scale properly.
Right. I guess it would matter if like you're in the 60 range and then
Yeah,
your friend
yeah.
can't do early Outland or Northrend with
Yeah,
you.
yeah. But that's interesting because that's now an old problem. That's not the case
Yep.
anymore. That's pretty
Yep.
cool. I remember like wanting a friend or wanting friends to join me for like dungeons or whatever, and we always had to look for people who were around the same level range. Like, oh no, you only have that one dungeon. Like, you're too low level. Like, we can't queue with you. And now it's now that's fixed. But that's another topic. Sorry, my mind just wandered a bit.
That's fine.
But yeah, so that's the new things to do with Recruit a Friend, and obviously a lot of people have comments on this. Recruit a Friend was a very popular way of leveling your ults, and now it's not a very good way of doing so.
Yeah, so definitely I think Blizzard needs to address more. Like I said, I think that maybe for a new character, leveling is fine in 7 through 5 because you understand the story, but if you're on alts and you already have the achievements and you already have the transmog from the quest rewards, maybe another incentive would be good, especially because like so much of Legion's story is class specific. Like you've got the class mounts, you've got the class hall campaigns, you have like the special cutscenes for the classes, the artifact weapons, how the different things fit together, like if your artifact acquisition is on the Broken Shore versus like a different part of the Broken Isles. So I think something could be done for people to level faster that already have proven they have done the whole story and care about it.
Yeah. I think that would be useful for the old players.
Yeah.
Continuing on, we've got some undocumented changes. So, as you guys remember, last Friday/Saturday, depending on if you're US or US or EU, there was maintenance going on that helped fix some issues. One of these issues was the scaling of HP in MOP and WOD raids, and that has now been fixed. I actually have a little image for you. Let's see if I can find it.
It was super fixed.
So it was super fixed. There we go. Now you can compare the numbers. So this is an example of Mythic Hellfire Citadel, and you can see the HP of the different bosses pre-patch, so pre 7.35, post-patch, and after the maintenance. And the HP is actually lower than it was even before the patch. So we thought that was pretty interesting, thanks to the people who checked out the bosses and made these documents, or documented this rather. We can see that these numbers are actually a lot lower now, and that's cool. Or not a lot, but considerably lower.
Yeah. The outdoor mob issues in Mists of Pandaria from the 90 to 93 range were also reduced their health by around 32%. And Warlords of Draenor NPCs in the 90 to 100 range have had their health reduced, ranging from 7% at 90 to 42% at 100. So that has been a big issue as well. And then all the performance FPS issues were addressed in that maintenance as well.
Yep. So now if you had any issues soloing any kind of bosses like Shadow Pride or Blast Furnace, anything, those should be no problem anymore.
Yeah. I was also going to say that just to elaborate more on the soloing, there were some fights that had other issues in addition to the HP suddenly being out of control. And Blast Furnace was notable because previously you would need a priest with mind control or a rogue with bribe to get a special slight elemental ability on a type of ad and use that to kill a certain type of mob. And now this mob takes 60% reduced damage instead of 99% reduced damage, so you can solo that now. And people are very happy about this because you need to kill Mythic Blast Furnace 4 times so you can teleport to Blackhand, which then drops the special Iron Hoof Destroyer mount.
Yeah.
And with Saw of Pride, there was a hotfix because there was an ability he had. It was he could banish players in Mythic difficulty, and he no longer does that. So it's nice that Blizzard is taking extra actions to clean up some of the abilities that were, causing roadblocks to solo and otherwise do instance. So.
Yes, so someone mentioned, I know it's like sarcastic, but still, good example of a utility boss didn't end up very well. The thing is, I think utility bosses are always very fun, but they're not fun if they're old content.
Right.
So when you go back and want to solo something or farm something even over and over again, you don't want to have to, force a friend to come with you every time. And they've done this a lot with old bosses as well. If there was any kind of boss that was not soloable, even in Blackwing Lair, that had to be changed as well on that first boss so that you were able to solo it. So it's not the first time we see this. As content becomes old, Blizzard takes initiative to make it a little bit better or easier for people to solo for transmog or mounts or anything like that.
Yeah. So, yeah, up next we have something cool. The Una secret that was nearly solved at last week's show is now fully solved.
Yay!
And this is really cool because usually when we mention secrets, people think that there's some, epic reward at the end. And there was a reward, but it's different than usual, which we'll get to. Una is the spirit of a Draenei child that was... killed on Argos, and her spirit was stuck into a monstrous Urzul, and you can befriend her spirit in patch 7.3, and now we learn more about her in 7.3.5. And in this quest line, you go and you collect a lot of things that are near and dear to her, like her stuffed animal, and her flower crown, and her wand, and then she falls into darkness, and then you try to rescue her in a scenario in the Shadowlands. And you don't bring her fully back to life, but she can spend some time with you, and she's glowing and happy. And then if you take her to different important places, she will have special dialogue, and it ends when she's in Caraborn. She's like, wow, my people survived. This is so cool. So the reward at the end was that if you /hug Una, she will hug you back. And her appearance has more sparkles, and she has all of her cute little accessories. And a lot of people, some people were like, wow, this is a really touching storyline. And other people were like, oh, but, I want a lucid nightmare. Like, I ran around with this kid for 3 hours and I didn't, get anything. But I'm on the side that I think that the feeling good is the reward. And, the challenge was the journey, and you should feel good solving the puzzle. And it's nice to have story-based quests where you actually learn more about... it's a really sad storyline that she has.
Yeah.
Like, it's a little Draenei ghost child.
And we were hinting towards this as well, right?
Yeah.
Like last week, we said that there might not be a big reward, and it would still make sense because of the story itself. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Feel good. No, it's fine. I'm just saying we should just feel good that we saved her. I was also going to mention that a lot of the clues came from some Wowhead data mining done during the PTR, where we found a bunch of dialogue lines out of order that weren't attributed to anyone, and we pieced it together and made sense, being like, hey, it looks like, we're trying to save Una, and then we take Una places, and look, she's mentioning Pandaria, and she's mentioning this, and it helped the secret finding Discord a lot, so, yay.
So Perculia helped, is what you're saying, right? Yes.
Yeah. But also, it was
humble.
still a pretty crazy thing. Like, people were like, oh, we know she needs a stuffed animal, but where in the world is this?
Yeah.
The people solving secrets work together, trying out all sorts of places. And I need to go do this because, I do feel personally invested in Una as someone that I, was directly involved helping to save.
Exactly. And also, I have a picture. I kind of sneakily showed it already when Perk was speaking, but I'll show it again. So the old Una looks like this, and the new one looks like this. And the difference here is that we see the little items that we found for her. So the flower crown, the wand, the stuffed animal, and she's also, you know, seemingly a lot happier, more glowing.
Yeah.
So it's so when people say there's no reward, you look at this, look at that. There's a happy child here.
Yeah.
So
You learned you saved a child and you learned more about the light and the Shadowlands, and that was cool.
yeah.
Um,
So I just wanted to show that picture. I thought it was a great contrast.
yeah.
Yeah. So, I think that was it for Una. And we can go on to the next topic here. A very interesting topic for people who like looking at very hidden things and start speculating. Here, I'm going to show you guys a picture. You can introduce the topic.
All right, so what you were looking at is something that the player Thready found and shared with the YouTuber Pyromancer, and basically a rune on Argos with a very distinct shape appears in Orgrimmar if you look through a telescope in the Goblin Hut, but it doesn't appear right away. It looks like the telescope is facing a blank wall, and then after a minute, this tiny rune appears. So, super suspicious stuff. That seems very strange yeah.
Just a quick explanation as I'm actually looking at the images as well. So when you look through the telescope, what you see is this. At first there's nothing, and after, 10, 20 seconds or so, the rune appears on the bottom right corner. It's tiny. I have no idea how the person managed to find it, so, you know, big props to him. And then we are zooming into it right there, where you can see the shape of it. And this image here shows a similar looking rune on Argos.
Right. And people are saying it could be a shadow related rune for a few reasons. The first thing is that the location is, if you remember the Ilaria and Locust Walker storyline, and how there was the Crocul that was fighting the Void but eventually gave into it. This is a rune in that area of the quest line. Like, it's an area where many people are giving into the, you know, maddening whispers of the Void. So people are speculating it's that. And the other reason is that the goblins are really involved in Azerite, as we learned in the Legion epilogue. And people don't know how the goblins got tipped off that Azerite was really powerful. And it's really suspicious that there is a telescope just pointing at this blank wall in the middle of the city. So could be like, oh, you know, are they getting messages somewhere, like, you know, is like some sinister character, like, just trying to, you know, egg the goblins on and be like, oh, you guys like greed, like, here's some Azerite, you know, go inspect this, you know, cause trouble. Yeah. But it definitely is not, that rune does not look good, and it's very, the way it's set up, you would think, like, oh, there's a telescope, it's in a weird place, let me give a quick look, you don't see anything, but it's only if you watch it for a long time does it show up, and that, to me, sets off some alarm bells.
I also noticed that Nikki just subscribed, so thank you for the subscription, Nikki. And if there was other people as well, I'm sorry. But thank you guys. We do really appreciate it.
Yeah. And then another thing that we noticed, Aleke Thankin emailed Wowhead's feedback, is that there is a dead High Mountain Tauren NPC in Ashenvale. His name is Hallian Shalavahawk, and it's where the Horde and Alliance are fighting over Warsong Gulch, but he is dead, clearly in the Alliance area. And
so that brings a lot of questions. What happened? Did the Alliance do this? He was just an ambassador. That's a big deal. Why is the Alliance killing an ambassador? So question is, like, what does this mean? Things are they're getting serious, and we don't know, like, maybe this will lead to some other kind of story where it brings up more tension between the two factions.
Yeah, there were several versions of the NPC in the data, which implies that this character is present in several quests. And in another version, he has the title High Mountain Emissary. And yeah, it seems like a really big deal if the emissary is murdered somehow. So it could be a little, you know, it's obviously the Alliance, or it's not the Alliance, but it's framed to look like the Alliance right now, just in the position. You can see it's clearly in Ashenvale Alliance territory. Mm-hmm. And usually like the Tauren and the Night Elves, like with the shared druidic bond, usually they're pretty chill and towards each other, so this can maybe drive a wedge in things.
Yeah, like a comment in the chat mentioning as well, like, would the Lions do that? Are they being set up? What is happening? It's just another little kind of unexpected detail that's visible there, and we're asking questions like, what is going on?
Yep. So, yeah, we can also just do a final call on entering the Pepe giveaway. It is Pirate Pepe, and the keyword is booty to enter. We have a few Wowhead community topics to cover, and then we also have a few questions to answer from the chat, which Sass has compiled for us.
Here is Pirate Pepe, in case you're wondering how he looks like.
Yeah.
And yeah, you just type booty in the chat to enter the giveaway. And it might be similar to before, where subscribers get double the chance. I'm not sure, though.
Yeah.
May need Sass to confirm that.
Yeah. So on to the Wowhead topics. We have the Artist Corner running through Sunday. We are highlighting a different sort of artist this week. It is DCMJS, and he does a lot of cool minimalist designs related to classes and specs and artifacts. And it's really awesome. So many people they really like the minimalist style, and they're thanking us for showing a variety of art styles. So thanks for all the support. You might recognize him on Reddit. He submitted a lot of his art, and it was like everyone loved it there. He has a lot of interesting things, like imagining specializations as corporations, or taking in-game Warcraft logos and turning them into really modern logos and shapes. So just check out the post, and then on that post, leave a comment about what you like from this artist, and you could enter to win one complete set of digital files for his minimalist posters, the Azeroth tourist posters, and the brand poster series. And then you can, obviously just get that printed at any size you like for posters for your own use.
I also put on the slideshow to give you like an idea of how the art looks like, and I also put a focus on this one here. It's a bit more zoomed in, so you can see how there are all World of Warcraft related, like, because from far away you'd think like this is not really about WoW, because they just look they look very artsy and minimalistic, as you said, but you see here it says Enhancement Shaman, Windwalker, and Guardian Druid. So it's like a little art piece for each one of them.
These would make great office decorations because you can show that you're into WoW, but it doesn't look like traditional fantasy. It could fit into a variety of situations.
It's like blending in. Yeah. It's awesome.
So I think that's cool. We also have some guide updates. Fat Boss TV writes all of the Antorus guides for Wowhead, and they've now completed the mythic guides for the first 5 bosses. They have more video guides up, but the written guides are special because they can go into more detail. So, for example, in the Mythic A&R guide, they go through the complete mythic mode portal order and go into like the time, and they color code it, and what's the big ad type and the strategy for each. So definitely check out the written guides if you like their video guides. And then finally,
the last Wowhead post.
Yep, Wowhead is now hiring a reverse software engineer. This will help with, a lot of things like keeping the database nice, squashing the bugs, making sure our tools are really good, especially for Battle for Azeroth, and working on all of the data mining stuff. The job qualifications, it's not an entry-level job, but, you are working on a lot of the site. I know we won't have tons of people applying just watching the show, but it's always worth a shot. Let your friends know about this. It is a really cool job. You get to work with the rest of the team, and it's really fun, just finding all these cool things in the data and sharing it with the community. So we are hiring for that. That is a full-time position. You can work remotely, has full-time benefits, and all of that good stuff.
And working with people who share passion is like, the best thing ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that actually, that wraps up everything that we wanted to let you guys know about the past week. As you guys saw, it was mostly like discussion topics and more hype stuff, building on to the new expansion. And now we got some time to answer questions. So if you have any questions, you can shoot them.
Lone Samurai 1 says, do you think with the BFA launch that Blizzard will drop the unlock requirements for allied races and let anyone start them? If they did, do you think the backlash would be big or no one cares? I don't think I think they're here to stay because it keeps their entry relevant, and if you start playing a year later in Battle for Azeroth and you just picked up like a Nightborn, you may not understand why they were important. And it should be easy, to blow through the quests in a few hours with the, things like rep requirements removed or, the High Mountain story being pretty easy and, you'll be out leveling it if Legion content scales up to 110 and you're like, 120.
Yeah, I think like you kind of hinted there, I think there might be some changes to the reputation so that it doesn't, take you weeks to be able to unlock them. But I think the base requirement for it will still be there.
Yeah. Zappy Boy says, are you concerned that they'll struggle to balance the uniqueness? Is it okay for a few specs to be mandatory for some encounters because they have something like an AoE stun? I think we were discussing this, and we are concerned that they can deliver on this because it wouldn't be fun if they only gave a few people something really good in all encounters or, needed that one really good thing. So I think it is something they have to deliver on and communicate on because I do understand why people are really concerned about this.
Yeah, especially in a small 5-man group. Like if you're running mythics, you don't want to be like, oh no, like none of us have an AoE stun. There's no way to get past this like pack of mobs.
Right.
Hopefully they will. I think they will, think about all these things.
Yeah, Dirty Pool has a question that ties into that. Well, it's a good suggestion. Are they going to bring back fights where other classes than tanks have to tank fights like in Gruul's Lair? So I think that would be really interesting.
Fun. Yeah.
That's what it goes back to the whole, in an island, like your mage could, be a healer type thing.
Yeah. I remember
cool.
in ICC on, was it Blood Prince, where the warlocks had to tank the shadow orbs. I mean, it's not a boss itself, but, it's tanking something, and that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd find that really fun if they would bring some more of that back.
Yeah.
Warlock
Joners, yeah. Joners TV says, based on no information, when do you think Blizzard will start pre-orders for the next expansion pack? So I'm kind of under the impression that with this Q&A and how when Ian does Q&As, he always it's always like, look under your seats, like here's a patch trailer or a patch date. I don't know. I feel like we will get news at the end of the Q&A on the 30th. That's my guess. I don't know if they'll start then, but I think Ian will be like, part of Azeroth, blah blah blah, legendaries. Oh, by the way, here's a horse on the screen. I have details about this.
Yeah, and maybe some kind of date for pre-ordering as well. Who knows?
Yeah. Aiden Bad Duck says, what do you think will happen to our artifacts in return? For example, if my weapon is eye level 985, what will I get for it? So I don't think they're going away now. I think that whenever we have the pre-patch with the Battle for Azeroth class changes, then they will go away. When we have the class tuning that, takes into account you're much weaker without an artifact, like buff talents and stuff like that. And we'll probably get a weapon with significantly higher item level, or at least, have some abilities beefed up to account for the fact that, we just lost 10% damage on our main thing because we lost, 4 ranks in a trait and so on.
Yeah.
I think we can still, use them for fun. They just won't do anything. Yeah. And of course, you can collect the transmog appearances after Legion, except for the Mythic 15 and
Mage Tower.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe it's even a part of. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Maybe it's even a part of losing the artifacts of that you get into a quest chain that gives you a new weapon.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, it's probably I don't think they'll just remove it and suddenly you don't have a weapon and then you're gonna have to go back to some old content to find a weapon. I don't think they would do that. It doesn't feel like a smooth transition.
Skiba TV says, any news on the Love Rocket box being available to players below 100? No, we both really want to know about this. So
I really
right
want to
now,
know.
I'm not saying anything. I'm just like, not, don't get your hopes up based on how every other box has been, working.
Yeah,
Maybe Warcraft devs can get clarification if you tweet them about that.
good
Uh,
idea. I might have to do that. So
yeah.
Love event is, in case you're not aware, in a week, is it? Or very soon at least, maybe 10
Yeah,
days.
early February. Yeah.
Yeah, which means it's going to be time to start farming the love rocket. So I was doing that last year with my 50 characters. 50 is the max amount of characters that you can have on an account. Last year, the requirement was a level 15 character. So the few characters that I was missing, I think around 10 probably, I leveled them to 15 and I just ran it every single day and no drop. No drop. And this time I'm not going to be able to have 50 characters because I don't have that many who will
At
be
100.
eligible for I think,
Right.
the epic box, right? So
Yeah.
at level 98 you get an epic box, whereas if you're lower level than that you get a different box.
Right.
It
And
wasn't
we
the case
realized
last
that
year.
with Halloween, how people were getting different
Yeah.
quality pumpkins based on your level.
Yeah.
Um,
So that's
Mem-
yeah, that's probably what's
Yeah.
going to happen with the love rocket too.
yeah. Good to get clarification though, because it's a really rare mount and people really care and want this mount.
Mhm.
Mamtooth has asked, with raid tier sets and legendaries being removed in the next expansion, is there any idea of bonus to earn high item levels to compensate the removal of these things? So I think that's along the lines of like, hey, if the artifact weapon goes away, are we stronger? So I want to clarify that when they're removed, like you won't be wanting to use a level 110 gear at level 120. And if you come back to the game like, a year later, your raid tier sets will still work if you're, a level 110 starting to level in Battle for Azeroth. It's just in the raids moving forward, the idea of creating a tier set with unique set bonuses will not be a thing. So all old ones will still work, I believe, as you're, leveling, just nothing planned in the future. And, same with the legendaries, if you have them, you can still use them as you're leveling. They just, they just won't be viable to use at 120. And then Blizzard is adding the Heart of Azeroth system as, like, the new way for players to have choice in what they equip to customize their playstyle.
Is there any words on legendaries whether their effect will still be active at higher levels?
I'm not sure on that. When we were looking at the talents in the Battle for Azeroth demo, some of the rogue talents were based on legendaries, so that would imply that at some point they don't work and you can maybe get it as a talent instead. But nothing's been said about them. So that would be a good question for the Battle for Azeroth Q&A.
Indeed. And I also noticed that there were a few people who were winners and not responding to the giveaway. So I'm just going to mention the person out loud in case they haven't responded yet. Adrian I. Popescu. I'm really sorry if I said that wrong. You have 2 minutes to respond. Well, probably not 2 minutes anymore, but yeah. It's important to realize that you actually have to respond to it. We should probably address that as we mentioned the giveaway.
Yep. Proto193 was asking about the Shaman raid buff for Battle for Azeroth. If people don't remember what this was, there were raid buffs for every spec on the demo except Shaman. We don't know anything about this. It's something that would be cool to address in the Q&A because the class blog did not talk about the raid buffs either, really. But yeah, we think Shaman should get a raid buff like everyone else.
And a new winner has been chosen.
Okay.
Halve Elif? Half-Life. Half-Life. Oh my god. I can't believe I couldn't read that. It's Half-Life. Just spelled differently. That's it. AFK winners. Yeah, I think there's been like 5 people rolled so far, and each and every one of them is AFK.
Just got a few more here. So Not Endiion says that, do you think Muffinus's tweet where he diabolically rubs his hand together has anything to do with that telescope rune discovery? I don't think it does because the rune discovery was last week, and he just had a tweet now about rubbing his hands now. I think that, if anything, the Doomsayer robe, he said it was available in game and people are trying to find it now, so I think he's sort of evilly cackling that people are, that people are like trying to find this toy in the world, but I don't think it's the telescope thing because that was a while back. And finally, Crispy Kitten says, can we collect PvP artifact appearances after Legion? I don't know how Prestige works, but yes, you can get all the appearances after Legion. There will be some way to get them. So that's about it.
So on that note, in terms of appearances, the appearances that will not be available anymore is the Mage Tower one and the Mythic plus 15 one. So if you're interested in looking at your olds and you want to see which appearances you want to keep for afterwards, that's what I would recommend. So personally, I realized that, hey, the Feral Mage Tower appearance looks amazing. I really want that, you know, in case I want to run around at some point and look pretty. So I'm gonna go ahead and gear my Feral Druid so I can get that one. So just a pointer out there. Those will not be available once the expansion hits, so it's worth checking out.
Yeah, a few minor clarifications on that too. So you can get the tints of the Mage Tower one after Legion. So for example, you don't need to like kill Jaden in Legion. You can do that after. And with Mythic 15, if you get the Mythic 15 achievement but don't have Balance of Power done in Legion, you can do Balance of Power in Battle for Azeroth, and then you will then automatically trigger the Mythic 15 tint of that. So basically, you just make sure you get the Mythic 15 done in Legion, and then you know, you can do Balance of Power anytime. So
it's good to know.
I think that's it. Yeah.
I think we rolled another person, Hexy EU. I'm gonna start mentioning the names because I can imagine that some people just have the stream in the background and then they're doing their own stuff, like maybe leveling, maybe LFR or something.
Reading Wowhead.
Reading Wowhead. Yeah. People don't want Pepe feels bad, man. Oh, don't say that.
Oh.
Wowhead has a Twitch. Yeah, this is Wowhead's Twitch site or Twitch page.
We also have a new roles filter because we didn't want to ping everyone when the show starts, but if you go into the roles chat on Wowhead's Discord, there is a special Wowhead weekly role. So whenever the show starts, if you sign up for this role, then you will get alerted, and this will hopefully cut down on spam, and you'll only get pings for things you want. So, yeah.
I can't see if there was anyone else, but I do see a resub, Noob Nidus. You know, nice. I should stop saying names. I should let Perculia say them. Thank you very much for the 3 months.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it. Well, I might as well take the moment and... Oh, did we find someone? Oh, no. Come to our Discord. Okay, yeah, that was something else. I think that was commenting what Perk said.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll take the moment here and... thank all subscribers today. If I missed your name, I'm sorry, but thank you very much. It's really appreciated. We have a bunch of emotes in the chat, including one for Brightpaw, actually. I don't remember the exact name for it, but you can check it out. I'm sure someone will post it now that I mentioned it.
Yep.
Yeah. And
we have a winner.
Do we?
It is, yeah, the winner is Hexy EU.
Oh, okay. We got it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there you go. Congratulations. Yeah. This is the Pirate Pepe that you will get one of. It's a very special one. Shaman. People are still making fun of me saying shaman instead of shaman. But yeah, I'm going to live with that. I'm just going to accept it. I'm never going to be able to pronounce anything properly. And you should try to say my name. Svarte Daden. I don't know. It looked a bit Scandinavian. I might be wrong. I'm Swedish myself, by the way, in case you didn't know. But yeah, well, I think that was everything.
Yeah.
And LaserBoy64 just subscribed as well, so thank you very much for that. But yeah, thank you guys.
Sure we'll have like a pretty big show next week if, you know, we'll have that whole Battle for Azeroth Q&A to discuss. So that'll be fun to discuss.
Really recommend you guys to tune into that as well and get your questions through. Actually, the way they would do it, they take the questions beforehand, right?
Yeah, so there's a forum thread, and then you can also tweet them with a special hashtag. And yeah, it just helps them, like, you know, a lot of people have the same thing, and it helps them organize.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, congratulations to the winner, and thank you guys for tuning in. tonight for the Wowhead Weekly 146. We will be back again next week, same time, and probably cover more Battle for Azeroth discussions. Thank you guys for subscribing to the Twitch channel, for following the Twitch channel, being active in the chat, and just supporting. Faye Plays WoW just subscribed as well. Thank you very much for that. Thank you also to all the Wowhead Premium subscribers on the Wowhead site. If you don't know what Wowhead Premium is, it's a subscription to the website that gives you different perks such as no ads on the site and a special color on your name when you're typing in the forums, and a bunch of other stuff as well. So thank you guys for that. Am I saying premium weird too?
It's a little weird. It's usually premium, but
premium,
you know,
okay.
It's the thought that counts.
Oh God, yeah, yeah, I think that's just me. Sorry, guys. I'll try and remember, but I probably won't. I love my premium. Good. See, I said it wrong again. Oh well. But yeah, thank you guys for everything, and thank you, Peculiar, for joining. And for being here with all the juicy information, all the data mining, and all the hard work that's being done in the shadows. Hopefully, it's becoming very clear on this show that she's taking care of it.
Aw, thank you.
And hopefully, Brightpaw is doing fine as well.
I hope so too. Hopefully, he might have a collar on next week, but hopefully he'll be able to jump around a little more and not have me panic. So
yeah, I hope so too. Let's hope it. Is Brightpaw okay? So Brightpaw went through a little surgery. Do you want to mention it?
Okay, so he was neutered on Tuesday. When I found Brightpaw, he was a stray. Someone abandoned him, and he didn't have any of his medical work done. And without getting into the details, his surgery was more invasive than usual for a male cat because of how his anatomy was. And I could have gotten it done a little bit earlier, but I didn't want to because I would have to really take care of him, and I was traveling so much in November and December. So he got his blood work early January, and he was neutered on Tuesday evening. And the vet said he was the most active and talkative cat they've ever seen after surgery. So he's both sick and needs to rest, but wants to jump on everything and gets really mad if he's in a room by himself, and he's wearing this collar so he can't eat his stitches, but he's hating the collar and trying to pull it off his head. So he is quite the handful, and I'm trying to be in the same room with him so at least he's not crying and being stressed, but then he jumps on things and he's not meant to do that right after surgery. So
like as we mentioned at the beginning, so right before stream, Perk was just gonna go AFK to pick up something, and while she's gone, I see the chair and Brightpaw just climbs onto it, and then she's back and she's like, no, Brightpaw, you're not supposed to do this.
And I can't just pick him up because of his surgery, so I have to like carry him in very funny ways. So but yeah, he's doing fine.
He'll be okay. He's a strong one.
Yep,
he's been through a lot. But unless there's any other kind of comments, I think that's it for tonight. And I was not calling you a Swede, by the way. I was saying that your name sounds Scandinavian, which I was right about if you're Norwegian. But yeah, it's very interesting, the thing with languages. Like there's a lot of different ways of speaking, and I guess having a non-American on the show now is bringing some new weird ways of saying things.
Well, we used to have Olivia on the show, and she also said shaman is shaman, so I think it's an EU thing.
Ah, okay, because she's British, right?
Yeah, she's British.
Oh, okay. So. Yeah, see? She knows the right way of saying things. But yeah, thank you guys for watching again, and thank you for supporting and all different ways of supporting, and we'll see you guys next week. Thursday evening or Thursday afternoon. So Thursday 2 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Central European time.
Yep.
And as a reminder, I did see a couple people mention Panzer earlier today. Panzer is no longer the host of Wowhead Weekly as she was not able to continue. But she is still working with Wowhead. It's just that she was not able to take on this specifically. And then I was the new host, the new person to take care of the show. It's always really scary taking over something that's already pretty big. But I think hopefully people still enjoy the show.
Yep. So thank you for all your support, and you're doing a great job, Annie, taking over with stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
trying my best. But yeah, take care, everyone, and we'll see you guys next week.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
On to the outro scene. Hopefully I won't fail anything. Boom. Bye-bye, guys.
Yay.